Okay, we are going to start Python tutorial, and in this part we are going to Python comment. Comments can be used to explain Python code, and it can make the code more readable, and it can be used to prevent execution when passing code. When you wanna prevent execution of a certain part of your code, you can use comment. Comments start with a hash mark, and Python will ignore them. For example, if we go to Python environment, and that is this is a comment. Python consider it as a comment. It also comments can be placed in the end of line, and Python ignore the rest of them. As you will see, this helps or it improve its readability. Comment doesn't have no. We also, as we said, can prevent from executing some part of our code. Multi-line comments, Python doesn't support multi-line comments, and we should use a hash mark for each of line, as you see. Also, you can use multi-line string. Since Python will ignore string literal that are not assigned to a variable, and you can use triple quotes. Get that. That's a single quotes we can use. Yeah, that's it. As long as the string is not assigned to a variable, read Python, read the code, but after that ignore it. And you can have multiple comments. Comments in Python are written with a special character. Which one? Fill in this blank space. After that, we are going to variables. Variables are containers for storing data values. How to create variables? Python has no command for declaring a variable. A variable is created the moment you first assign a value to it. When you assign 5 to x, considers x as an integer, and when you assign a string to y, Python consider y is a string. In Python, variables do not need to be declared with any particular type, and you can change it whenever you want. In the first line, x equals to 4, an integer. In the second line, x equals to a string. In the third line, when we print x will be Sally, and now x is a string. Let me try it. X equals to 5 is x equals to and now I'm gonna print x. See, x is replaced with a string named red. And if you want to specify the data type of a variable, this can be done with casting, type casting. If we use str, just like that, it will be string. This, if we use keyword int, it will be 3 as integer. If we use float, it will be 3.0 as a float. If we want to get the type, we can use type function. Let me define two variable. Y equals to print type, for example, x. It shows us type of x. It is in integer class. Or if we wanna see type of y, it is string class. And we will discuss about data types and casting later in more detail. A question: single or double quotes? The string variables can be declared either by using single or double quotes. If you use double quotes or single quotes, it is same, and Python consider it as a string. Case sensitive. Python is a case sensitive programming language. Means that lowercase a is different from uppercase. If you assign 4, for example, to lowercase a, and Sally, for example, to uppercase a is different from this, and it is two independent variables. A equals to 1 and a equals to 2. If you print a, it prints 1, and if you print a equals 2, uppercase A. Variable names. How can we use variable names? In Python, like other programming language, there is a restriction in naming variables. A variable name must start with a letter or the underscore character. A variable name cannot start with a number. A variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. Alphanumeric is represents A to Z and 0 to 9, and underscore. You can use underscores. Variable names are case sensitive. For example, case sensitive age is different from capitalized H or uppercase H. There are legal variable names in Python. My var, my underscore, you can use underscore, you can use in this example underscore in first line, yeah. You can use uppercase, and you can use number after letter. These are illegal variable names. For example, first line, we have 2. Variable name must not start with 2, or it cannot contain a dash sign, or it cannot contain a space or tab between two words. And remember that variable names are case sensitive. Multi-words variable names. You can use multi-words variable names, and for more readability you can use camel case, Pascal case, and snake case. And what is that? Camel case is each word exists. The first one starts with a capital letter. You see these. The first word contain lowercase. And remaining 2 words start with capital and capitalized. Pascal case, each word starts with a capital letter. You can see capital, capital, and capital. Snake case, each word is separated with a underscore character. We use these the 3 sort of cases to or quote more readable. How to assign multiple values to variables. You can use assign multiple variables in this case. Let me show it. For example, first variable, second variable y, and third variable z equals to, for example, red and green and blue. And we are going to print z print y is green and print x is red. Make sure the number of variables 1, 2, 3 match the number of values. There must be 1, 2, 3. If we use 2 values, we get an error. For example, if we use this, not enough values to unpack. We have 2 values only and 3 variables that cannot match with each other. And also you can assign the same value to multiple variables. let me clear okay x equals to y equals to z equals to orange and print x orange, also print y orange, also print z, it will be orange. We assign one value to multiple variables. Unpack a collection. If you have a collection of values in a list like this, Python allow you to unpack them and deploy them to each of these variables. For example, it is just like an array. Cereal are assigned to fruits and fruits assigned to x and y and z. For example, colors, and red, and we're gonna assign variables like a and b and c to colors. We want to assign colors to variables a and b and c, and if you print out a, for example, if we print a and if we print b, it prints blue, and if we print c, it prints red. You can also assign directly print a, for example, print screen, and so on. B blue, C red. Yeah, we discuss about this later in Unpack Tuples chapter. Output variables. Python can print out combination of two strings or concatenate strings with plus sign. x equals to orange, and we're gonna print out plus x and we can use also plus character to add a variable to another variable. For example, we have two strings. If we say z equals to x plus y, value of z now is Python is awesome. For integers, look here. For integers, x as mathematical addition. It acts like mathematical operator. For example, if we consider x as 5 and y as 10, x plus y adds 2 of this number. Let me show you. A 3 and B 4. Print A plus B. Print 7. And if we try to add an integer with a string, we encounter with the interpreter error. Okay. A equals 6, B equals blue. Print A plus B. Unsupports operand type for plus integer and string. Python doesn't support adding integer with a string, and it is an interpreter error for Python. Global variables. Variables that are created outside of a function, as in allow example above, are known as global. For example, this is a global function, global variable, and can be used every global variables can be used by everyone, both inside and outside of a function. Can be used here or here in body of this function. X equals to outside, and if we define a function with keyword def, we call function, it prints out outside. As we said before, we can use a online ID if you prefer. If you create a variable with the same name inside the function, we create a global x here, and we create x also here, and after that, if we use print, it uses this. If we call this function, it prints. Python is fantastic. And if we use outside of this function the value of x, this Python is awesome. Let me try it. Next time we'll try this in an IDE. Okay, we define x outside of the function and define a function and indentation. X equals to, for more deep, I put a space, is equal to inside of a function print out x and we remove this indentation and call function, and we use a print outside of this function that uses this x. Then we execute it. We forgot the colon. Function. Look, the name doesn't match with each other. We're gonna run. By first we define this block as a function, and we call function. When we call function, interpreter jumps to this line of code, line 3, and execute this block of code. X value of x will be now is inside of a function, and if we print this x, it prints this in first of execution, and then control of program comes to this. If we print x now, it uses it's global outside of a function and prints outside of a function. Okay, let's go back. Global keyword. Normally when we create a variable inside a function, that variable is local and can be used inside of a function. To create global variable inside of a function, you can use global keyword. And if you use the global keyword, the variable belongs to the global scope. This example, we define a global variable here inside of this function. If we call function, my function, it assigns it defines global x and assigns first asset to x, and print out Python is fantastic. Global x. Let us try to run this. Inside the function, invalid syntax. We cannot use this assign this string in one line, and we should use another line to assign it. Look, as control of the program goes to this, it calls this function and consider x as a global variable and assign it with inside the function and prints this. After that, control of program goes to grants to this line, print x, but we defined with global keyword here, and the interpreter bind every x's with own x inside our function. Look, output of this line is this line. But what happens if we define a global here too? What happens? Pause this video and think. Let's run it. See, we should separate it from each other. Inside of a function, it doesn't matter. If we define x inside of this function and call that function, but by first it prints this. It hits this line, it again use this. Why? Because in first we assign this value to this x, and then we overwrite this value. It is both global. We overwrite this value to x. As we said in past, if we overwrite a value to variables, the new value is the final assignment. Exercise. Now test yourself with the exercise. Now you have learned a lot about variables and how to use them in Python. Are you ready? Try to fill out this missing part inside of this box, text box. Create a variable named car name and assign the value Volvo to it. Use this practice by yourself, and thanks for watching.